Welcome to Hananiah Theological College. This is your Communicative English course in Law 101. Lesson 5, Writing. So, the Lesson 5 is presented on week 5. If you remember, in our previous 4 lessons, we have been given 4 different sessions, different lessons. On the first lesson, it was presented generally communicative English skills and the meaning of communicative English skills, what communication is and how communication develops and why we learn communicative English skills. On the second week, we went through the first skill, which is communicative skills, called listening skill. And we have seen the strategies and activities for developing listening skills. And when we go to the third lesson, it's been presented for speaking skills, and we've seen what speaking skills and the strategies and activities for developing speaking skills. And last week we've presented week 5 lesson 5, which is on reading skills. So we've seen how reading skills can be developed and the strategies for reading, and we have given plenty of reading activities on week 5. Now today we are going to see Lesson 5, which is on developing English writing skills. So let's go to the details. So before we go to the details, I would like to give you the course outline. So as you have seen here, we've given 4 important lesson outlines. In the first section, we are going to see writing introduction. So the introduction for writing skills, which gives you general highlight on the different concepts and misconceptions of writing, which is the difference between calligraphy and typography, because they are connected most of the time with writing, especially children. When we talk about writing, they first think about typography or calligraphy, and we see the difference between calligraphy, typography, and writing skills. And then we go to writing styles, and we have different kind of writing styles, including persuasive writing or descriptive writing or all kinds of writing. So this is second section, and we will see on grammar and vocabulary, the importance of grammar and vocabulary and how important they are in the development of our writing skills will be the third session. And when we come to the next topic, that will be the writing process. So we'll see end-to-end process writing, starting from pre-writing and how we have to prepare ourselves to writing, go through drafting and revising, editing, and publishing. So the publishing is the last stage. When we say publishing, either to submitting to whatever you are supposed to submit, or you have to publish it online for a newspaper or in a book. So the end goal of writing is publishing. So when you publish, you will get to the reader. And next we'll see English writing strategies. So there are strategies to develop English writing, which is planning and outlining is the first stage, and then we have to know our audience and go to starting a strong introduction and using the clear and concise language, as well as follows writing process and practice writing regularly are the strategies. So we'll see them in detail. And finally we'll be given writing activities, because activities are important as the development for skills. Any skills, whether it is listening, speaking, reading, or writing, has to be done several times, repeatedly, frequently. So the more you have the activities, the more you'll develop your skills. So to develop your writing skills, you have to develop your activities. That means your writing activities should include developing or practicing sentence writing or paragraph writing or essay writing. So this is all about the introduction to the course and our course outline. So first, let's go to the writing introduction section. So writing introduction. Why we need this introduction? Because we have to make sure that confusion should be eliminated before we go to practice reading. So the first confusion, which is common for many beginner writers, are the confusion between calligraphy and typography with writing. So calligraphy is the art of writing. It involves manual handwriting. So you have a piece of paper and write a pen or a pencil, and you start writing letters or words, or all these kinds of things are called calligraphy. Calligraphy is of course important for kids. Before you practice calligraphy, it is really difficult for you to learn a handwriting, or writing skills. So the beginning of writing skills is calligraphy. And then recently we have the concept of typography, because in the old time, everything we were given was related with writing on manual, on papers. But this time, this is connected with writing with typing. So typography is a computer-based or computer-generated words or meanings, and that meaning is based on preset fonts or typefaces. So this is the difference between calligraphy and typography. So calligraphy, to summarize, is writing of letters, words with pen and pencil. That's, we usually call it handwriting. And typography is when you type using computer keyboards to write letters or words. So both calligraphy and typography might be needed as a background for writing, but they are not writing skills. If somebody has the best kind of calligraphy, or if the person is the fastest typist, it doesn't mean that that person is good writer. So writing is different from typing or handwriting or calligraphy. This is number one. Number two, you have to have grammar and vocabulary capacity or power in order to become good writer. That means grammar considers words in terms of their parts of speech, how they change forms, and how the order in which they should be placed into a sentence. That means we have like present tense or past tense if you like to use a verb in one form or the other form. If you want to express your thoughts in writing about the present time, you have to use the correct present tense grammar. But if you would like to write about the past, you have to use that kind of grammar that is a past tense. On the other hand, vocabulary considers words in terms of their meaning. So if you do not have the power of vocabulary, if you do not know plenty of vocabulary or plenty of words, you will be challenged to express your thoughts in terms of words. So grammar and vocabulary are important concepts in order to develop your writing skills, is the second introductory note. So when we come to this next section, we get writing styles. So writing styles. Writing styles is also important to know, because there are different styles we implement to use for different purposes. So for example, you write a descriptive writing, or narrative writing, or persuasive writing, or expository writing. So a descriptive writing is a kind of writing where you just describe your concepts. So this is the first kind of style. You have to be able to develop all kinds of writing styles. The second one is narrative writing. So that means when you would like to express some kind of story in a narrative way, you just create a picture of that story, that thing which is happening in the form of writing. That is called narrative writing. And persuasive writing is the other one, when you would like to write to persuade somebody. That's a kind of argumentative essay or argumentative writing. You bring various reasons and have a conclusion. So this kind of writing is persuasive writing. And expository is a kind of writing which we always use in order to have some kind of concepts elaborated. So this elaboration is called expository writings, or persuasive, narrative, or descriptive writings. You can choose any kind of writing depending on your purpose. So if you like to describe something, just take descriptive style, because all the styles have different mechanisms. So the way you narrate things is different from the way you use persuasive writing. For example, when you use a persuasive writing, you have to make sure you have plenty of reasons or premises and conclusion combined. But in narrative writing, you have to use plenty of vocabulary, plenty of adjectives and adverbs to describe your thoughts, or to narrate, to create a picture in the minds of your readers. So this is writing styles. Now let's move to the next important concept in writing. That is the writing process. The writing process. So writing has 4 important processes which we all have to pass through. The first one is pre-writing. What is a pre-writing stage? A pre-writing stage is if you would like to write something, or if you are asked to write something, the first thing you have to do or you have to go through is on pre-writing stage. In which stage you have to collect data. You have to bring ideas. You have to bring knowledge from all over the sources. Because before you writing, you have to know something, what you are about to write. If you don't know something which you are about to write, you cannot write. So before you write, you have to make sure that you know the thing which you are writing. Therefore, this is called pre-writing. In this stage, you have to organize your ideas, you have to collect knowledge or data, and you have to you have to write the outline. The outline means the series, the sequences of your thoughts. What you should write first, what you should write next, what you should write at the end. So the introductory, the body, and the conclusion, which you have to draft. You have to write out the outline. That is pre-writing stage. After you have organized your mind, your thoughts, your knowledge, or if you make some research about the knowledge you would like to write about, then you will go to start the second stage. That's called drafting. So pre-writing is really, really, really important. The way you write your first draft or the final draft is depending on your pre-writing, your outline, the knowledge you have collected, the outline you have designed determines everything. If you have very poor outline, your writing, your composition, your paragraph will be really poor. If you do not collect sufficient data, if you don't read a lot, if you don't make interviews about what you are writing, you cannot really write a compelling essay. But if you collect data, you will be writing really resourceful essays or paragraphs. Imagine you are a newspaper editor or a journalist. As a journalist, if you would like to write a news, first you have to go to the field where things are happening and collect data. Make interview, look at carefully, make short notes. When you come back to the office, you have to sort out all the information you have collected and make an outline so that to flow your thoughts from simple to complex, from known to unknown. That is called the pre-writing stage, that's called the outline stage. Then you go to the drafting stage. The drafting stage means, drafting means to write the first copy of your piece. That piece means your paragraph or your essay. Sometimes it might be longer essays or book. After you draft it, you cannot simply send it to the printing house, or you cannot simply go and publish on your website. Instead, you have to go to the revising stage. You have to make sure, you have to read what you have written again and try to find out any mistakes or errors you have made through. For example, check about your sentence structure, which we call it grammar. Check about the words you have used. If you think that the words you have used are not really good, try to change the words with best words. And that stage will take you to editing. So after you revise, after you read what you have written, then you are going to engage in editing. That's making corrections wherever you feel is a mistake or improve the quality of your writing piece. That's called editing. And the final stage is publishing. Once you have revising it, editing is, you can go and publish it. Publishing means either to submit your assignment for your teacher or to defend your paper in front of your examiners, or to might be publishing in your website, or send it to the publishing house to be published as a newspaper, as a book. That's the final stage. But there is a tip. Before you send it to your publishing companies or publishing your products in any source, you have to give it for feedback. If you have friends or good people who are able to edit your paperwork for grammar or for content, you have to give it for feedback. So people will read your work and give you some suggestions, and based on their suggestion, you can re-edit it and send it to the publishing. So this is a writing process for anything. Whether you would like to write a single paragraph or an essay or a book, it is better to use this writing process. Even sometimes, before you write a single sentence, make sure that you think about what you would like to write. That's called pre-writing. And then write your first sentence. After you write the sentence, go and check it for correction. And if you find any mistakes or error, go and editing it. So this is the writing process. Now let's move to the next stage. That is English writing strategies. So as we have always do, strategies are important suggestions which are drawn from years of experience of writers. So what are the strategies? If you want to become a very good writer, what can you do? What should you do? Now we have some tips. Number one, the first one is plan and outline. This is what I have already indicated on the writing process. The best strategy is you have to plan what you are about to write, which means before you start writing, take some time to plan and outline your ideas. This will help you organize your thoughts and create clear structure for your piece. So this is the first stage which you are supposed to do, and planning involves thinking very carefully and decide what to write and how to organize your writing piece is plan and outline. The second best strategy which you have to develop is know your audience. Whenever you write anything, you have to consider who is going to read your piece. For example, if you are writing for kids, the way you write for kids is different from the way you write for adults. So if you don't consider your audience, your writing will be useless, because even among the adults, if you are writing for experts or if you are writing for the general public, should be different. Because if you are using plenty of technical terms which the general public do not understand and publish it on newspaper, nobody can understand what you have written. That you just waste your time. Nobody will be enjoying reading your text. So make sure you know your audience. If you are writing for the general public or you are publishing your ideas on the newspaper and public newspaper, you have to make sure that you use a language which is understandable for common or average people. If you are writing for experts or you are writing a technical paper, you have to make sure that you use plenty of technical terms and concepts and elaborate in theoretical and practical terms. And the third one, start with strong introduction. Start with strong introduction is a third strategy where you grab your reader's attention from the beginning with a compelling introduction. Use a hook such as thought-provoking questions or an interesting fact to engage your audience. So look, you are responsible not only to provide content to your audience, instead you are also responsible to motivate the readers to read your written piece. So this is possible when you inject hooks such as thought-provoking questions or interesting factors in the beginning of your writing piece. So for example, if you would like to write some paragraph or some essay about ChatGPT, for example, you probably ask with a question, do you think that everybody has an assistant at home, or every writer has an assistant at home recently? You might ask these questions while you start writing. So by giving these kinds of questions, you provoke the interest of your listeners or your readers, so that they will be motivated to read or to understand your passage. That is really important. That's called start with a strong introduction. The other one is use clear and concise language. This is also very important strategies. Imagine, some people think that using very complex words is really good strategy to show that they are good writers, but that is wrong, totally wrong. The best writers use a strategy and using a very clear and concise language. Why? Because avoiding using overly complex or jargon-filled language. Instead, strive for clarity and simplicity. Use precise words and concise sentences to convey your ideas effectively. The reason is clear. If you are overly using jargons and complex words or vocabulary, nobody is going to understand. So the purpose of your writing is to make somebody an idea to read your text and understand or get something. But instead, if you are making very complex, if you are not using simple sentence structures and make them very complex for understanding and are designed to be understood only for very complex people, you have only limited number of audience, and that is a poor strategy to use. So remember to use clear and concise language as possible all the time when you are writing. Number 5, follow writing process. Remember the writing process I have given you, starting from the first step or planning and writing the first draft. After you're writing the first draft, you revise it and then you edit it and you publish it. So if you are writing this writing process, that's also another good strategy. And the other one is practice writing regularly is also important strategy. To become a good writer, it's not enough to take this course. If you take this course only once and take writing lessons on this video, and if you are stop learning, then you cannot develop your language skill. Instead, what you are supposed to do, if you are writing sentences every day, you will become good sentence writer. If you are practicing writing paragraphs every day, you develop your writing paragraphs every day. And similarly, if you are writing essays regularly and frequently, you will develop the way you write essays frequently. So these are the writing strategies you are supposed to follow and adapt in order to develop your writing skills. Now finally, we are going to have writing comprehension activities, which I'm going to give you on attached you with your assignment portal. And those activities are depending on sentence writing, paragraph writing, and essay writing. On sentence writing, you will be given activities to write as many sentences as possible. Those sentences should be correct. They should have a correct grammar and using a good vocabulary. Make sure you have the subject and the predicate clearly, and try to include as many kind of sentences as possible. A kind of exclamatory sentences or questions or exclamations or all kinds of sentences. You have to give it time and practice. So that is the first thing you have to practice. That's called sentence writing activity. And then you will proceed to paragraph writing activities. So on your paragraph writing activities, make sure that you always have the topic sentence and supportive details, because a paragraph is a piece of writing where you have a topic sentence and supportive details done and nothing else. So think about a topic. For example, you say if you want to write about pollution, you have to make sure that there's a topic sentence. So what happened to pollution? You say pollution is bad, or you say pollution is good, or you can say America is responsible for polluting the air, or you can say China is the #1 country to contribute to air pollution. For example, if you take this as a topic sentence, make sure that you collect data to support this sentence. So by writing this, putting a topic sentence at the beginning and bringing evidences or examples or illustrations or elaborations to support why you say China is the #1 country in the world to contribute highly for air pollution or environmental pollutions or carbon emissions, then you have to give evidences to support your ideas. This is called paragraph writing. So you can practice as many paragraphs, writing as many paragraphs as possible. It's very simple. Put your topic sentence and try to bring as many supportive sentences as possible. So in this context, how many sentences do you think is a paragraph make? Or how many sentences do you need to write one paragraph? Well, the answer depends. Sometimes only one sentence can be one paragraph because that sentence might be longer or complex. Sometimes a paragraph might have one topic sentence and 2 supportive details, or sometimes one paragraph and 20 supportive details. So that means whichever sentence you have written, a paragraph always have one topic sentence. If a paragraph has more than one topic sentence, that paragraph must be split into 2 or more paragraphs. So even the definition of paragraph is an idea, or a paragraph is a group of sentences where we have one central idea. That's the definition. And therefore, to elaborate one central idea, one topic sentence, you can use one or more supportive sentences. That is what paragraph means. So you have to make, or you have to write as many paragraphs as possible to develop your paragraph writing skills. And remember, when you are practicing paragraph writing, try to write from different styles, like persuasive style, or you can expository styles, and all other kinds of styles to develop your writing skills. You don't have to write only one style. If you are always using a narrative style and just keep narrating, you cannot develop the other skills. Sometimes you need to have developed your descriptive styles. So if you want to develop your descriptive styles, then you have to write a descriptive paragraph now and then, or narrative, or persuasive. So for different purpose, you need to develop different kinds of styles. So try to practice as many styles as possible. And finally, you also must have to start practicing writing essays. What are essays? Essays are a group of paragraphs. Essays is a longer or an extended writing. That is, you may have one paragraph or more than one paragraph. Sometimes your essay might end up in one paragraph, but in many cases, your essay is composed of one topic and many paragraphs. So essay might be, for example, a short story. If you are writing a short story, that's a narrative or descriptive style. That is an essay. So you have a topic for your story, and you elaborate your stories, or you narrate your stories, you describe your characters in that paragraph. So if you like to use, you can use like 2 or 3 or more paragraphs so that you can make up your essay. Sometimes you can write a persuasive essay. The persuasive is the style, and that is the essay. What is that? You have a kind of argument. Like, for example, you might want to write whether abortion is good or bad. So you might take one side, you say abortion is morally wrong, and then you have to write as many reasons as possible to convince your readers. So if you have like 5 reasons, you have to write 5 paragraphs. Each paragraph is dedicated for one reason, and you have to elaborate in a more clearer way. So by writing one paragraph as an introductory paragraph, you have 4 paragraphs as 4 reasons why you say abortion is morally wrong, and finally you give a conclusion. So that is called an essay. I'm not going to suggest you a topic, but you have just take any topic, and you will have also a guidance on your assignment paper, and try to write as many essays as possible. At least you have to write a couple of essays in this course. So this will make you this will give you the chance to develop your writing activity. Remember one more time, writing is developed only when you frequently write. Listening can be developed only when you frequently listen, and speaking can be developed when you always listen. So that's all what we have for today, and this will bring us the end of our writing activities. If you have any questions, you can send us or communicate us as usual, and that would bring us the end of lesson 5. Thank you for listening.